Okay, guys, so I have a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you today. So, many of you probably don't know that I went to school for a bachelor's of science and a concentration in dietetics. I had to take organic chemistry, microbiology, chemistry, statistics, the whole kit and caboodle. And I did really well. I loved chemistry. I got A's in chemistry, got A's in organic chemistry, math, A's, microbiology, A's. One day I should show you my textbook. I was very much into it. And so I studied nutrition intensely, I would say, for about 15 to 17 years before moving on to a different subject matter. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, because I understand about water fluoridation. I understand what is a nutrient and what is not a nutrient. But I wanted to bring up something else that was ground into our brains when we were in school. So imagine you have an individual who has type 2 diabetes, and they go to see a doctor, and the doctor says, yes, you have type 2 diabetes. The doctor is not allowed to actually give them a diabetic diet. The doctor is not allowed to say, here is a diet that you should follow. Here's what you should do nutritionally. The doctor is required to then send his patient over to a nutritionist. And the dietitian in the state of Virginia, you have to be accredited by the American Academy of Dietetics. So only an accredited dietitian can provide nutritional information for that individual. The same goes for, let's say you have someone with celiac. Doctor diagnosed celiac. The doctor cannot give nutritional advice for that individual other than stay away from gluten and cross-contaminated products. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, it got me thinking that what Henrico is doing is they are stepping on the toes of dietitians when it comes to water fluoridation. So if a doctor cannot make nutritional recommendations for a particular disease, such as diabetes, such as celiac, such as if they have kidney problems, the doctor cannot step on the dietitian's toes. And in fact, in school, we were told, as dietitians, that if we find out that somebody is making recommendations, dietary recommendations to treat or prevent a disease, we were to report them to the authorities. And we were told, if you don't go tattle on, the doctor, or let's say it's even a citizen who's making, recommendations, then, you can lose your license. So imagine I have a neighbor and they're giving out nutritional information to another neighbor who has diabetes. The American Academy of Dietetics, according to the professors, say that I must rat on that neighbor because they have no business telling a diabetic, giving advice on how to deal with their diabetes. Okay, that's the land that we're living in. So Henrico, it's just baffling to me that if a doctor cannot make a recommendation as to somebody's nutritional needs, a diabetic's nutritional needs, why would we allow the Henrico Board of Supervisors, Misty Roundtree, Jody Rogish, Tyrone Nelson, Dan Schmidt, Roscoe. Why would we allow these individuals to make recommendations and treat people for the prevention of cavities when a doctor can't even make dietary recommendations for a diabetic? Okay, this is what's going on. Now it's funny because the the powers that be, they don't want you to call the hydrofluorosilicic acid a drug, right? They say, well, it's not a drug. Well, except for the FDA has actually categorized sodium fluoride as a drug, an unapproved drug, and a new drug, and hydrofluorosilicic acid is in the same box as sodium fluoride. So sodium fluoride is considered a drug, hydrofluorosilicic acid is a drug. Okay, but let's pretend for a moment that this is not a drug. Okay, so is it a nutrient, right? No, the answer it is not a nutrient either. It is, what do you want to call it? A mineral. Should Henrico be allowed to medically treat people, or non-medically, because they don't have a medical license? Should they be able to haphazardly, barbarically treat people with this dangerous mineral for preventive health care, right? To prevent cavities, when in fact it actually makes your teeth harder but more brittle. So anyway, just a few thoughts that I thought was kind of crazy. When I was in school for dietetics, getting my bachelor's in science, concentration in dietetics, we were told that if somebody were to recommend ginger to treat nausea, then we were to snitch on them and report them, because nobody is allowed to make these recommendations unless it is a dietitian, a certified dietitian. Is the Henrico Board of Supervisors dietitians that know how to prevent cavities? No. Are the waterworks operators a dietitian? No. Is the DPU director, Bentley Chan, a dietitian? No. Are they doctors who are keeping a close eye on the 330,000 patients? No, because that's what's going on, is they're adding this chemical into the drinking water to treat 330,000 residents. They are not monitoring us. They're not monitoring your child and what it's doing to their brain or their thyroid or their bones or their enzymes, okay? So if we're not going to tolerate and allow a doctor to make nutritional dietary recommendations for someone who has diabetes, but turn around and allow the Henrico Board of Supervisors to dictate whether or not a neurotoxin gets put into the public drinking water for preventive healthcare purposes, the whole thing is absolutely ludicrous. Think about it. And to all of my dietitians out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You went through all of the schooling. You got all the lectures. You know everybody's supposed to stay in their lanes, and the dietitians are not allowed to cross into the land of the doctors, and the doctors are not supposed to go into the land of step on the toes of the dietitians and make any sort of dietary recommendations, even if they're glaringly obvious, right? That's what's going on. So anyway, as somebody who studied nutrition and went to school studying dietetics, for dietetics, it baffles me how utterly reckless and incompetent the Henrico Board of Supervisors, the county manager, the DP director, and the waterworks operators are being when it comes to your health, okay? They have no idea what they're doing. These individuals did not even know what dental fluorosis was, okay? Anyone who's putting fluoride in the water needs to at least know what dental fluorosis is. This is gross negligence, in my opinion. But you guys let me know what you think, okay? So make sure to leave a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, leave a comment below, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.